So hardware week continues here at gameranx. We talked about the updated PS5 Slim, but we've also been spending a lot of time with Valve's updated Steam Deck. This is the OLED edition Steam Deck. Valve did send this to us to test out, and so far the experience has been pretty good. I just realized, like, it's a before you buy video. I should really start. Hey, we're back with another episode of Before, right? Should I do that? I mean, it doesn't really make sense.
Why?
Because it's an annoying intro anyway. This is another one where it is pretty cut and dry. The answer is pretty obvious. Do you need to run out and buy this right now? No. If you are a Steam Deck owner, this is not a full overhaul of the Steam Deck internals. It's not going to be able to run more powerful games or anything like that. What this is a revision. And what they did here was seemingly just totally go after two of the biggest complaints of the original Steam Deck. That was the quality of the LCD screen, which was a letdown for a lot of people, and also the battery life. Now, you know, there are varying results here, but I think overall this is a slightly improved, good Steam Deck. It addresses the issues. The screen makes a hell of a difference. We're going to dive into that. Overall, even with things being slight, like, this is a much stronger revision of the Steam Deck. I kind of fell in a similar line with the Switch OLED, where I was like, you know, that's not that big of a deal. And then I saw the OLED and I was like, oh boy, that is definitely the case here. I'd say even more so because the Steam Deck screen wasn't really anything to write home about. Now, it sure as hell is. So with everything breaking down, the first thing I think we should talk about is this screen. This is a full OLED screen, so you know, if you have games that can access the wider color gamut, you could do all that. I should start from the beginning. If you're saying, what's the big deal about OLED? Well, OLED is a type of screen that gives you better, bolder colors, deeper blacks, and stronger contrast, to say the least. And you might think that's like a nitpicking, pixel counting type thing. No, it makes a hell of a difference. Like, I'd say go to a store and go look at an OLED screen versus a non-OLED TV. There's a big difference. There's a reason why people have been clamoring for this on the Steam Deck. And I mean, maybe you can see, you know, as I've been holding it up here, but like right from the get-go on the menus, you notice a difference. The screen just feels so much brighter, bolder, more visible. Sharpness, maybe, sure, but really it's about the color. And that can make a hell of a difference. In this case, I really think it does. Also, with the OLED screen, you can access a higher refresh rate from 60 now up to 90 if you're a refresh rate pervert. Andrew, I'm looking at you.
Shut up!
But also, and showing this to people in real life, it's actually one of the first things some people notice who at least have seen a Steam Deck before, is the slight increase in screen real estate from 7 inches up to 7.4. You got reduced bezels, and as someone who is like a stickler for bezels, it does make a nice difference, especially on the left and the right. Overall, again, I think the screen is a win here. We haven't seen like as much light bleeding or anything like that. And yeah, but then I also want to acknowledge, in between, the other important note is the little things here, some of the smaller things that they have updated. So again, no new like chip or hardware upgrades or anything like that, but slightly tweaked physical things, like for the instance, the controls, the buttons, the power button, almost like kind of going for like a Pixel 2, Pixel 3 type thing. The power button is a different color, which is a small thing just so you can tell it's the OLED one, but the status light indicator, the power button, is now multiple colors, which I actually really like. It will be a certain color for booting up. Really, it's the controls and stuff. So the joysticks have a black color underneath, and they feel a little better. The face buttons are a little bit of like a darker tinge, and they feel different. I'm still not sure if I like them better or not. It's not a huge thing. But what I did notice immediately is the Steam and menu buttons on the sides. They are way more clicky buttons now. They were a bit mushy on the original Steam Deck. Now you really feel like you're just pressing a button. Again, small things, but little things. That's what we're doing here. Also, the D-pad itself has gotten a massive upgrade. I noticed that immediately when playing more old school things like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I had a much better time pulling off the combos and the muscle memory and stuff because the D-pad itself is just stronger, sturdier, and raised slightly higher. Also, technically, it is slightly lighter. I don't really notice it in like moment-to-moment use, but I notice it a little bit when I play it in bed. Not to be like weird, but yeah, you know, when you're holding it in bed after a while, you can get fatigued. I still do a little bit, but like it does feel a little easier. Hey, I bring my Steam Deck to bed, and you know what? If you're, I'm sure a lot of people do. And while the internals, like the hardware, isn't changed, there might be some more efficiency going on. Digital Foundry did point out that you can get a couple of frames here and there, but this isn't like a Steam Deck Pro or anything like that. The focus is on all the other stuff we're highlighting. Also, the fan inside has been revived. It's supposed to be a little quieter. I haven't noticed that, but I have noticed that it smells different. What? That's an observation.
You think I don't love the smell of my Steam Deck? Every time I boot it up, I'm like...
You're like... Also, with the charging cable that comes with the device, it is significantly longer. So again, little things. But jumping over to my last real section is the battery life. So Valve did increase the battery life here, addressing the one other complaint of the thing from 40 watt hours to 50 watt hours, equating to, I think, something like a 25% larger when like looking at Valve's numbers and stuff like that. So they are saying in the marketing 3 to 12 hours of gameplay, up from the original's 2 to 8 hours. Now, you might say that range is very large, but it's because this is technically a PC and various settings and different controls for quality and battery life and managing that. So it's all over the place. And what I can say is that it's hard to really, after a couple of days, get a good feel for the battery life. You know, just first impressions, like with some of the more powerful games, like say like Spider-Man, I have noticed that it kills the battery a little less slower, but again, I have no like data behind that or anything. So for me and us here, because we're not like battery math, like electric output nerds, the jury is still out. But again, that improved size in the watt hourage of the battery, I think, is significant. And Valve has, done some little things here and there, optimizations behind the scenes. I do notice that it charges faster. But yeah, I said it with the original Steam Deck review. The battery life didn't bother me that much because everybody's experience is different. Some people are going to want to run AAA games on this thing, full blast, full brightness. You're going to play it for a little while. I stick to, smaller scale, more chill games on this thing mostly, so I'm already happy with the battery life. I usually keep it at 40 hertz anyway, so I'm expecting long-term to see a slight improvement, but nothing as like, wow, what an upgrade, like the screen. The screen is really why you're going for this thing, and why ultimately we would recommend it. Again, it's not something you need to run out and buy right now. You don't need to throw out your original Steam Deck. It is still great. It is not obsolete by any means, but they are selling the original Steam Deck right now, I think at like kind of like a while supplies last at a discount, and eventually I assume that's going to be phased out, and the main model is going to be the OLED, and I think that's great because the screen kicks ass. Oh, one thing I did also want to note, side note, if you are like, going full big spender here and buying the 1 terabyte version, the carrying case is updated. I already really like that Valve even included a carrying case with the original Steam Deck. I think that case is great. Now, it's kind of the same thing, but with an inner detachable shell. So essentially, it's almost like more of a sleeve for your Steam Deck within that you just yank out with Velcro, and then that little sleeve you can more easily fit in, say, like a laptop bag, something like that, and I've already really been enjoying the benefits of that. So Valve went for it. They took the Steam Deck, they made it better. Is the Steam Deck for every type of person? At this point, I don't know. So you may play different games on PC that don't necessarily, complement themselves to the Steam Deck. And there are also other devices out there on the market. Lenovo's Legion is the newest one. The Asus ROG thing, people have been really digging that. Aya Neo is still very much at work and doing all sorts of revisions. So there is more of a market for this thing. For my taste as a user, I prefer the Steam Deck, and I'm happy now that it has an OLED, and I'm going to go buy one. So yeah. Again, pretty cut and dry. I remember seeing comments on my videos and the gameranx videos when the Steam Deck did come out, with some people saying like, the battery life and that LCD screen, I'm going to wait for a revision. So, they kind of answered your questions here with this. It is not a Steam Deck 2. I'm still very much looking forward to seeing what eventually the Steam Deck 2 may be. Valve has gone on record about that a little bit, but for now, Steam Deck OLED, that's our first impressions. I do want to know what you guys think in the comments. Are you ready to get this thing? Are you pre-ordering it? Are you going to try and get that fancy special collector's edition one with like the see-through plastic? I know you're trying to do that. Good luck. Even still, with the impressions on this, do you think the Steam Deck still isn't quite for you? Do you still want more battery life, a bigger screen? Everybody has different preferences. So let's talk in the comments. Definitely want to hear from you guys. But if you like this video and maybe it helped you out, just getting some first impressions and stuff like that, clicking the like button helps us. Thank you. But that's it. I'm Jake Baldino. See you guys next time.